Yo, ordinarily I usually start with our official introduction.
Yeah.
But this is extra content.
Yeah.
And we might start doing this more often depending
on it just makes
what
sense,
the topic is. Right. Might do it more often depending on what the topic is. Today, and we'll try to be as current as possible. This actually would allow us to be right Johnny on the spot as soon as something important that we want to talk about is out. We can do it like this. What we're going to be talking about in this small short segment here, we're going to be talking about and analyzing the new Dave Chappelle Talkback
Redemption song,
where he's doing his best Mark Twain impersonation. And yeah, we might as well get into the first thing I'm gonna say. I got to steel man him first as far as delivery.
Oh,
let me tell y'all something. I see a lot of you comedians out there. Some of you are funny, but I've lately noticed a lot that aren't.
Mm-hmm.
And they do a joke a minute, like it's literally joke, and it don't be all that funny. It's a lot of filler, of filler. Tell you something about Dave Chappelle though.
Mm-hmm.
Dave Chappelle don't have to pepper his routine with joke, punchline.
Not at all.
No. This man has mastered the ability to keep you captivated by him talking about things and having the occasional joke. And some of them aren't even punchlines. Some of them are just the way he said certain things or the way he coined a certain phrase, a certain type of way. And you laugh because of the concept of what he's talking about, not the punchline itself. Like, yo, yeah. All right, that's kind of him, yeah. And it's entertaining from the beginning to the end because you're invested in the overall point of what he's saying. He is the master of that. So anybody that runs around here and it puts him on their GOAT list, I'm not mad at you.
Yeah.
Because
he might be number 2.
He might he ain't 3.
Right.
He ain't 3.
Yeah.
He's either 1 or 2. He ain't 3.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Dave Chappelle is a genius at what he does. You notice how I specified that, right? Because I get tired of people just saying genius that has a certain connotation that for me, that no, he's a genius at what he does.
Yo, I
gotta get that man his flowers.
I have the same energy that I had when we were talking about Sticks and Stones, that special with some of the jokes that he makes. That aside from how you feel about some of the topics that he chooses to address and the way that he chooses to address them, he is a comedic genius.
Without question, and also that actually some of the points I want to make about this actually connects to Sticks and Stones. Yeah. Just an observation that I made then.
Yeah, it's hard to say that like you can't steel man him enough because surgical is a good
nigga. He's nice. Let's use the parlance of the land. This nigga is nice.
There are very few, if any anymore, holes in his craft.
Nah, B.
It's
effortless. He's in a zone that I recognize. All right, so back when I was dropping sometimes 2 projects a year, which seemed like a lot to me at the time. When it came to writing, it was near effortless getting my point out. I was in that zone where I want to write a song about this. I knew what flow I was going to use. I knew the words and all that. It was almost like it wasn't coming from me. Right? He's in that zone right now. He's in that zone right now. And because of the type of material he typically does, the world keeps feeding him. Feeding him.
And most of y'all ain't fucking with him. Most of y'all ain't close.
Yo, say that
most
again.
Of y'all can't come close to
say
approaching.
That again, please.
Most of you cannot come close to approaching. No. Having the inkling.
No.
To form an idea.
No.
That it would make sense for you to be near touching him.
You can't. You can't win.
Like, I ain't gonna hold you.
He's bigger than you are.
Some of it, nigga. Some of it. I'm very aware of recency bias.
Yeah.
But I think that there are times where some things are just undeniable.
Yo, there are some dudes
as far as my
drop
lifetime,
as far as my lifetime
is concerned, I would like, as far as comedians and just how well I think they are at the craft and for the craft.
Yeah.
There's like, and some people are gonna be mad at me, but Chappelle is up there, Rock is up there. Cat is not one of my favorites. Cat is up there.
Let's not get it twisted about
Cat. Yeah, it's two different things. Whether I prefer their style or whatever is not.
Cat can be so funny that it's dangerous.
Yes, Cat is up there. Kevin Hart is up there. He's definitely dropped from all the way on my list as far as favorites, but he's still. We can't take away what he's done.
No,
and one of the last one that I would argue is up there that would probably piss off a lot of people. Kevin on Stage is up there.
Well, yeah, that's gonna piss off because a lot of people might be like, "Who?"
Yeah,
even though he has a nice audience, he has a nice audience, but people don't know who he is.
Especially,
I've never seen any stand-up he's ever done.
Yo, listen. I think I might have one or two that I might have to slide you, but it's not just like I said. I specifically said it the way I said it. What they've done for,
right?
Because in this pandemic, there are literally two people. Well, we thought this recent things that have come to light show me that there might be one instead of two. But before it was found out, well, we'll talk about that when we talk about the special. Before this new revelation, there were two people that were allowing comedy to thrive during this time period.
Yeah, absolutely.
One of them was Dave Chappelle. The other of them is Kevin on Stage, because his keep your distance comedy thing is ridiculous, and it ain't just his friends. It's comedians, like real RNSJ was on one of them. Gary Owens it either happened 2 weeks ago or it's about to happen next week. One of the two on there. Doug Williams, the nigga whose career was destroyed by Jamie Foxx on that Comedy Central roast, and almost got destroyed again because of the dumb shit that he did on the show with Kevin on Stage. But whatever. Kevin on Stage is out here killing it, and it ain't too many people as close to him.
I want to give an honorable mention to Bill Burr. Y'all gonna stop acting like
absolutely.
Y'all gonna stop acting like just because you mad,
right?
Y'all gonna stop acting like Bill Burr
absolutely
don't have it.
Absolutely,
he has it.
Yeah, one of the last. I mean, I wouldn't put him as high, but one of them that I just like don't sleep on. Aziz Ansari.
Yeah,
Aziz is a beast out here. And he had an unfortunate setback with the Me Too movement. But what happened with him isn't as egregious as some of these other people. So he was actually allowed to come back. But yeah, he's one of those. But anyway, the topic today is Redemption Song, Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
He starts, a part of the reason that he's so great is how he just sets up his set.
Facts.
He starts off with talking about how the hero may have issues and they may fail, and nothing makes a coward happier than to see when a brave person falls.
Agreed.
And I'm like, where are you going with this, Dave? Where are you going with this? And then this motherfucker hits me with a right hook.
Yeah. Almost literally right.
Right.
Almost literally right.
Dave. This idea that anybody who's quote unquote scared to try things because of the coronavirus pandemic is a coward is the worst. Listen, this motherfucker has come out and talk shit about trans people, again, in jokes, so you can take it with a grain of salt if you choose to, but that's completely up to the individual, and I'm not going to try to influence anyway, either way, because there's a whole debate about what can be talked about in comedy. But again, I'm gonna let y'all make that decision. But this motherfucker has made rape jokes, like I said, jokes about trans people, jokes about gay people, a bunch of things. I don't think I've seen a take of his in an official capacity of something that could be considered as special as this one. Why is that? Because there's a difference between being persecuted over a long period of time and some of that persecution ends in the unfortunate death of a group of people. Murder is what we'll call it, not death. Murder. Right. Whether it be lynching, whether it be the person that went down to that club in Florida and
got shot all up.
Like, these things are fucking horrendous and should never happen, but they do. That's one thing, but it's a completely different thing to straight up ridicule people who are trying their best to do what's best for the collective so that less people die.
Nigga, when I first heard that, first thing that came to my mind, because like I said, I see shit from a macro view and then go a micro. For him to say something like, these people are invested in being afraid.
Right.
That shit minimizes a very real danger.
Yes.
And it's not all that dissimilar to them asshats that run around that like to call this shit a plandemic.
Yes.
And what I'm saying to you is, and I'll make this very clear to y'all, maybe you haven't been paying attention to all of it, because there's a lot of information and there's sections of it maybe you didn't focus in on. Those people that die from this are typically alone.
Yes.
With a ventilator down their throat.
Yes.
Around no loved ones. Just doctors in hazmat suits looking at a screen of a TV or an iPad of their loved one telling them goodbye. Fuck you if you don't understand why there are people that don't want that end.
Facts.
Fuck you if you don't understand that. And 100%. That's what it sounds. That's what that came off to me like. And it's also it's a big part of the mentality that has us with so many infections and deaths here in the United States.
Absolutely.
Big part of it that y'all want to be This is the American influence.
Yeah.
Y'all want to be cowboys. I'm tough. Listen, I fall guilty of that myself. I was raised in an environment where that was valued. Being a tough guy, not taking no bullshit. You can't punch a virus.
Nope.
You can't shoot a virus. You can't do none of that tough guy shit you do when somebody approaches you in a way that you feel is hyperly aggressive or threatening. You can't do that with a virus. The only thing you can do with a virus is avoid getting it. So I didn't like that part at all. And I also questioned, because this is my first. I didn't know he had got that Rona. So I'm a little disconnected, but I also, because not knowing that, I didn't hear anybody digging in his ass or saying some nana boo boo shit about. I personally didn't hear that.
Here's the thing. I did know that he caught it. But I also did not hear anybody. Now, again, it's us, right? It's not him. So if anybody's going to hear it, he's going to hear it.
Right.
So sure, absolutely, 1000% without a question.
Absolutely.
My issue though is, again, with the nuance. Yes, you can absolutely be upset at the people who ridiculed you for doing what you thought was right? Because at the end of the day, there are several reasons why one would do what Dave Chappelle has done.
Right.
Like I said at the beginning of this, there were basically two people who made it possible for comedy to thrive during this, and it's Kevin Stage and Dave Chappelle.
Facts.
And if I remember correctly, I think Kevin Stage said the brainchild, I mean the seed
was
that entered his mind was Dave Chappelle with that first one that he did, 846.
Right.
And when Kev saw that, that's where he got the idea to expand and blah, 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 blah. And it equals keep your distance comedy.
Right.
So absolutely, I get, you want to work. This is you realistically, I'm trying to put myself in Dave Chappelle's shoes. Outside of him being absolutely separated from reality because of how rich he is. But you love to do this thing, right?
Yeah.
You happen to be one of the best people to ever have done it,
right?
In the history of the planet. Yes. And you spent.
Well, there was that one guy I met in ancient Greece.
All right. Okay.
Pretty funny.
Okay. Anyway, and you happen to have to be away from it for a decade. Yeah. For extenuating circumstances.
Came back and still started knocking spokes.
Came back, and it was like nothing happened. You were right back on top.
Yep.
So you feel like, all right, I love to do this thing. It got taken away from me. When I came back, it was great. And now it's taken away from me again.
Right.
So I understand you finding a way to be able to still do that. 100%. Right. I'm not mad at you for it.
Right.
Especially because there was social distancing going on. There were masks still being used and all that other good stuff. So I'm not mad at you for that at all.
But also the pioneering spirit of trying to find a way to make things like, here's the reality. We're all going to have to search for a new normal.
Yes.
Shit can't go back to the way it was.
No.
Vaccine or not. Because one, even though I've known this for a while, but it wasn't at the surface of my mind. They had to tell you in 2020 to wash your motherfucking hands. Listen, when you come out the bathroom, they shouldn't have to tell you that. But the fact that they did it, and I knew someone needed to tell you, it just wasn't in the forefront of my mind. But now that it is, I got to move different.
Right.
So do a lot of you. You're going to have to move different. And until it gets to the point where it's like the flu, where you can catch the flu from somebody else quite easily, right? But it doesn't necessarily kill. It's not known as, even though it does kill people, but it's not known as the killer or whatever. I got the flu, take a couple of days off, whatever. But even after that, I caution you that we live on a warming planet. This planet has had 5 mass extinctions that we can track. 5 mass extinctions, and we're working on the 6th one now. What I'm telling you is, it is not uncommon for shit like this to take place. Right. So if you get ready now, you don't have to get ready later. Thanks. If your behavior is conducive to being able to protect the most amount of people, in the eventuality, the very real eventuality on a warming planet, that there's something else that pops up, things are going to have to change. It won't be as strict as it has been, but it's definitely not going to be as loosey-goosey as it was before then. And then we will eventually get used to it, because kids are being born every day. And if they're already born into the situation, this is a norm to them.
Right.
The only people that will make it not norm is crusty old bastards like us saying shit like, boy, back in my day.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Devin, absolutely. Half of California is due for a mega flood in the next 50 years as well, 50-50. Check the Great Flood of the 1860s. Not only that, there's the San Andreas Fault.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That's aching to be a thing. That volcano in Yosemite,
mm-hmm.
Listen, y'all. Or was that Yellowstone?
Yellowstone.
Listen, y'all, because that's something that took place before too here.
Yeah.
It's not a game. So we need to get in the mindset of trying to save the most amount of people as we possibly can. But in the event that you're not interested in that, that's fine. You shouldn't be trying to endanger other people, though. That's your decision.
Right.
Don't endanger other people. And I feel like that his commentary with that, it fed into some shit that you're going to be seeing people that already had that mindset regurgitating. It makes the conversation a lot harder after that. A lot harder. After somebody as influential as someone that we even admit to be possibly the greatest of all times.
Yeah.
We even admit how effective his talkback was.
Mm-hmm.
We even admit how good it was. But because we are the people, we think the way we think about shit, we are observant, and we can link past shit with current shit, and then extrapolate future shit, which is one of the reasons why every so often when I share a memory on Facebook, it comes from that ability. The reason why that shit is relevant. I'm just saying, it's not magic. No, it's just that I'm observant of human behavior because humans make me sick. I'm observant of their behavior, and everything that usually affects us, for the most part, is human-based. Yeah, we have the occasional natural disaster or some shit like that happens that nobody's control over, but most of the stuff that's going to face you in your life is going to be human-based.
Yep.
At some point. I didn't like that part of the core of what he said. I liked how he said it. Yeah, I didn't like the concept.
No, not
about
at all, B.
That at all. I wasn't feeling it.
And it's like, you know me, I'm the word guy. Technically, he's right. Technically, that is what the word coward does mean that. Technically. But what we also have to do, like I explained with why my Run That Back series is not going to start including a bunch of country music, is because there is vernacular that has to be taken account of.
Absolutely.
And sure, a coward might have that textbook definition, but there is a connotation assigned to the word coward.
It is, and it should be, because here's the thing. There is irrational fear, and then there's justifiable fear. Right. And nobody should be referred to with an overarching brush as coward for being afraid because you don't want a tiger to bite your fucking head off. Right. That's a justifiable fear if you're in a situation where there are tigers. Right?
Exactly.
That's justifiable. Like, come on now. Fear saves us. Fear saves us.
It is self-preservation. It's Darwinism.
Devin says anthropology. I would argue that the sum total of human fears is the reason why humans lasted as long as they did.
Facts. Like I said, it's Darwinism.
It's that simple.
Yeah.
It's that simple. Listen, it's one of the reasons why you and I have such a problem talking to people about being logical and looking for evidence. Because here's the thing. When humans were developing, right, they're out there in the bush.
Mm-hmm.
And in the foliage, something is shaking. Now, you could use the scientific method and say, I don't know what's in there. Therefore, I should not be afraid until I find out. I need to go investigate so I know for certain what's in there before I'm afraid. Absolutely. Except
that's
for
logical.
That's not conducive for survival.
No. You can also get the fuck out of there. I don't know what's in there, so maybe I shouldn't be here when it reveals itself.
Yeah, because it could be a rabbit, or it could be a velociraptor, right? So I'm getting the fuck out of here
Facts.
just in case, so I can survive. That's how humans tend to react to shit.
Yeah.
And that's why humans are not. I've seen people try to put this out there years ago, and I never believed it. Humans are inherently logic. No, they're not, because logic only served us to a certain point during our development as a species. It helped us develop tools. It helped us do a lot of it, but it did not help us survive in the sense of imminent danger.
Right.
And that sort of self-preservation. You don't have time to do all of that. Nah, B. You don't have time to logic your way out of a situation in certain cases, you know.
Now, there are some things that you might have learned. Learned experience might help you.
Exactly.
But not raw logic.
Right.
No,
right.
B.
You can't. And so the idea that you would hit them with that means that, to me, it's entirely possible that he wasn't doing generalization, because I didn't hear people saying this stuff about him. I'm assuming it's targeted.
Yes, I saw that somewhere.
It's targeted.
I saw that somewhere. And
you know,
I saw that somewhere. The take was, it's a crazy take as a generalization, but even though he didn't
specify,
it feels like it may have been targeted.
Yo, the first part of that whole thing seemed targeted to me.
Yeah.
Like who he talking about somebody.
Right.
He talking about somebody had his name in their mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And this is his first time really being able to respond on a wide stage. And he getting in their ass because you couldn't take it from a generalized position. That is a horrible take.
Oh, terrible.
That is horrible.
But I'm fairly certain it's what you just said, because I saw another article before I even knew Redemption Song was out. I saw another article saying something about Dave Chappelle's back to work. Some people were saying he returned too quickly.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm fairly certain that I'm fairly certain that here's the only issue I have with it being targeted is, and it's a small issue because I have an answer for it. But the issue is, Dave doesn't say things by mistake.
Very detailed,
very detailed. But in this instance, he left out the details.
He was vague.
Right.
Yo, call the name, nigga.
Right.
Call him out.
But my answer is that he's Dave Chappelle. He said what he said. It's going to get to whoever, without
question.
Yeah, they're going to feel it.
The problem is, though, like in that episode, the last episode of WandaVision, that hex bubble spreads out and winds up encompassing.
Yeah, that's a fact.
So when we hear it, we go, yo, Dave, that's a crazy take right there. Are you talking about everybody to do that? Or you, even though to me, because I'm such a, I'm an observer of human behavior and also words people say, body language, he definitely was talking about somebody. What else in there? Because there was a couple other things in there. Well, especially one thing in particular in there that I felt like, nah, I'm not buying. Very well said, but I'm not buying into that. Like when he said about the power of Americans reside in each other. Now, I got to make this very, very clear with y'all. To me, that is the myth of American exceptionalism.
Wait, before you do that, I would argue that statement, bare bones, with no context added, is accurate.
I still would disagree with it. When is that ever? When is that? When?
No, not that it has worked. That in the event, the caveat would be if those people are on the right page.
And therein lies my other problem with it. Because I could say about our community certain things I would love for it to be.
Yeah.
That I know for
it
reasons
just never will be.
It never will be.
No, facts. I'm talking strictly theoretical.
Right. Like I feel like it's wishful thinking to me. Like there are certain things about this place that's baked in the cake. And we just had in our previous live stream, we talked about how, my God, a lot of you are ignorant as fuck.
Bruh.
So in order for that to be, the re-education would need to take place. And I honestly don't believe you can do that with people that's above a certain age. I don't believe it.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing to, here's the thing with me. I will acknowledge what I'm stupid about and then tell you if I'm interested in being smarter about that, if I care. But what I will also do is not to pretend to be an authority on it because I know I don't know enough. I don't have the level of interest. It took me years of working to get that mentality, to crafting and building that mentality. It took me years to do that.
Right.
I don't know a lot of people that are willing to do that work. People want to stand on what they said, regardless if there's any basis in fact or reality, and will get absolutely pissed at you.
How dare you?
Suggesting they haven't done the work or they're not a credible source for that. I have seen some of you motherfuckers argue with physicists, argue with doctors, and you ain't spend a day in any medical school or with your nose buried in some physics books. You don't even understand basic physics. So I put a basic equation of time, what time is in physics. You wouldn't know what the fuck that was.
Right.
But you are arrogant enough to sit there and argue with people as if your ignorance is the equivalent to their knowledge. I've seen this shit happen way too many times for me to just pawn it off as a bug. That's a feature.
Absolutely,
that is an absolute feature.
Without question.
And having conversations with folks like that is one of the reasons why I don't like people now.
Yo, it's not fruitful. It's not prudent.
Yeah.
Not gonna do it.
Not gonna do it.
Not gonna do it.
And that's why I don't believe the. Listen, I grew up with G.I. Joe too, y'all. I grew up with that. I grew up with that indoctrination too. I grew up with it too. And I'm telling you now, once I got past a certain age, I realized what it was. It was indoctrination. And it hits you at the core because they start when you're young. They put that shit in you when you're young, these stories about how exceptional American people are, how we watch movies where we win, the Americans win at the end, or even just humanity. We manage in Independence Day to be an advanced civilization of people or beings that had the tech to make it from way out there in space where they were to get here, and we beat them with one of our computer viruses. This is the dumb shit that humans tell themselves is part of our stories. And the same things that I have learned to love about humans, I have also learned to despise about humans because I love our story making ability. That's why I like comic books. I love that whole thing. But it, like anything else, it has a good side and has a bad side. And that bad side is it has convinced us that everything is gonna be all right. Nigga, at the risk of repeating myself, 5 mass extinctions have taken place. It is not a guarantee that everything's going to be all right.
No,
it's not.
No.
So yeah, in a perfect world where the wishful thinking was actually a reality, and you could get everybody on the same page, everybody educated, wanting the same things. Sure, I would argue that for any nation of people across the globe, not just America, right?
No.
So that's why that rubs me the wrong way, only because I'm a result-oriented person. I see that's not, we not. And as much as we would like to be, what's that shit the Joker said, that movie? Stop talking like that one of them. You're not.
Facts.
Even if you like to be. Right? So you're not. You're not.
It's a whole thing.
It is a whole thing. Now, other than that, though, let me just say this.
The rest of the talk back was amazing.
Yo, that shit he said about you motherfuckers felt like black people felt for 30 minutes when you felt like for 400 years. And I would also argue, I would take issue with that. No, that shit y'all beefing over ain't nowhere near. No, ain't nowhere. It's not even close. Not even close. But I will say to you, the point still stands. For 30 minutes, you felt like you were being mistreated and persecuted or whatever in the scope of time. Yeah. And you wigged the fuck out and did that and went inside the Capitol building and smeared shit on the walls. Black people ain't do no shit like that.
Nope.
So while you point, what did I say to you when this stuff was happening? When I said to you, for the bulk of this country and the narrative that's been spreading around, we're the villains. The Muslims are the villains. Gay people are the villains, although that's starting to shift too. You know what I'm saying? Right. Mexicans or foreigners, immigrants from countries other than mostly white countries, they're the bad guys. And I told you they are not going to be the ones to take this place down. Because if you talk to the average black person, they love it here. Yes, they have issues.
Of course.
But they are, black people are some of the most patriotic people. To a fault, to their detriment.
Yo, Fab made a post about leaving. He said something about how the government treats us. And one of his fellow soldiers was like, yeah, that's why I left. And Fab was like, you did not leave. He said, you still live here. He said, I'm not talking about the military. And he said, oh, I would never want to leave America.
See? So that's why, and it was it last episode? It might have been the last episode when I told y'all I started to realize that I was an influencer. And I should have realized it before, but I always think of the huge subscribed, followed. That ain't me anymore. Like there was a time where my 15,000 subs was a big deal. That's not a big deal anymore, right? Right. So I didn't think of it in that way when I started talking about, going to Belize and shit like that. And I started realizing, damn, a lot of motherfuckers that I've talked about this for a while. So I'm starting to look into this shit because I said something. I went, yo, this is the first time that's happened. Damn, nigga, you an influencer. You need to chill. You need to chill. And speaking of which, Panama is beautiful. Y'all
okay. All right. Anyway, back to Dave Chappelle. So, and the icing on the cake, he got his shit back.
Hold that thought. I gotta read this Devin thing. He said, even some more specific claims, like we are the most free. Well, there are some lists and organizations we could turn to for a lens on that. And we are not at the top of those lists.
I mean, that's a fact.
Facts.
That's all facts.
It's wishful thinking. But continue.
But yeah, the best part of the talk back was the fact that he got his shit back. I mean, that was the plan. That was the entire
point. That was awesome.
Oh, the plan, he executed the plan and the plan worked. Which again is why it's confirmation bias. It's one of the reasons why he feels that America's greatest strength is because he had a plan. Right. He said, I'm not going to fuss with Comedy Central. I'm going to go to my boss.
My actual boss, the people.
The people. Right. And hey, y'all, don't watch this shit. Do not watch it. Boycott the Chappelle show. Boycott me. I'm not asking you to boycott any platform. Boycott me. Right. What happened? The people listened. What happened? It worked.
Right. And like you said, it's confirmation bias. Because what it does ignore is all the extenuating factors why that worked for him. Because I'm about to say this right now, y'all. I'm about to say this right now. I'm trying to leave. I'm going to start a GoFundMe. I'm coming to the people because that's where our true power lies. That's our true power.
You can't even finish that shit.
I can't even finish it, yo. I can't even finish it. Like he's earned.
Yes, that's a very specific situation.
It's very specific, and he's actually earned through his skill.
Shit, blood, sweat, and tears.
Blood, sweat, and tears. And also, Dave walking away when he did boosted his credibility immensely.
What?
Immensely.
I would never listen. Dave Chappelle walking away when he did, the way that he did, made it okay. It made me give him the benefit of the doubt when he was on Saturday Night Live talking about give Trump a chance.
It didn't for me, but I got you.
Because I knew that it wasn't a situation where he was a Trump supporter.
No, he's not. He's not that. He's not.
I knew that it wasn't that. I knew that was his legitimate claim.
No, he really believed that.
Yeah, for an attempt
as much as I thought it was misguided.
Absolutely,
it was
he was wrong.
And again, this leads to a sticks and stones thing being connected to this. Yeah. I have noticed, and I said at the time, that the angle some of those jokes were coming from, because you can make jokes about anybody for real.
Yeah,
but the angle they were coming from was very right wing and very boomerish. I said that at the time.
But he is a boomer.
He almost not really,
not quite.
How old is he? Because he's probably Generation X.
He is Generation X.
Yeah, I mean,
double check.
Let's see how. Because if he's my age or younger, he's Generation X.
I'm fairly certain he's older than you, but
he might be. Let's see.
I think I spelled his name wrong too.
Yeah, I ain't had to worry. Yo, I'm older than him.
Oh,
he's 47 years old. He's Generation X, man.
I thought he was well into his 50s.
No, sir. No, sir. So at the time I said, yo, and I'm gonna tell you, during the whole the give Trump a chance thing, I catch vibes, yo. I catch vibes from words, language, and all of that shit. Where so there is a certain type of American, right? That hopes for the best, does have the indoctrination in them that thinks and believe that we are special. The situation here, has caused us to be special. And that sort of American cannot see when America does the fuck shit and how it's no different than the fuck shit Russia did, the fuck shit Korea did. They can't see that because they bought into the indoctrination. And this is what I want everybody to really that's listening to this to kind of get what I'm saying here. Every country or government indoctrinates their citizens. So I'm not just pointing the finger at the United States saying they the only ones doing it. No. This is common through stories of historical figures that have been distorted, slanted to make them into heroes, to make them into almost a divinity. You get what I'm saying? This country does the same shit. The shit they criticize Kim Jong-un's father and grandfather for doing, painting these elaborate pictures of them. Making these mythologies about them. This country does the same thing, and they may not do it with a current president. Give it 100 years.
I mean,
give it 100 years.
Columbus.
So for Columbus, we have our Johnny Appleseeds over here, our Paul Bunyans. We have our Benjamin Franklin almost didn't seem like a real person to me as a kid because of the stories about him. The George Washington throwing a silver dollar across the I can never George Washington cutting down the cherry tree. I cannot tell a lie. Stop it, my G. Like that stuff, that stuff is utter brain garbage. And they feed it to us when we're kids so that we grow up with that. So that we idolize the symbolism and think of ourselves, And then we ain't even covered might makes right. Because when you're the most powerful nation on the planet, the biggest military, that mentality comes to play. And some of you arrogant little citizens over here who live in this bubble, submerged in all of that shit, if only you come up out of it, we could actually make things better here.
Yo,
we can actually make things better here.
Mm-hmm.
But
because y'all don't have bad intentions.
No, and it's not, to be real with you, 100% your fault. If you take a kid, clean slate, and you pump his head full of stuff, especially during developmental time, what is he? That's what he has in there when he's an adult. It's still there. Now, some of it.
That's why I say one of the best things that happened to me was going to Africa when I was young. It broke.
See
this idea that the world was here.
Yeah. That idea that the world is only here, and this is kind of how I don't see Dave as being that type, because he's traveled the world. But I do see him as one of the type of Americans who has not exercised a lot of those myths and the way they change your perceptions about, like, I don't believe that there is necessarily going to be a happy ending unless motherfuckers work towards a happy ending. And when I told you before, the only reason why I felt like, I want to leave, because I don't feel like I have an army here. Where's the army? There's no army here of people that's willing to, I don't have it, so I might as well go someplace else and have a better community, even if the infrastructure is not as good, whatever. But Dave strikes me to be one of those type of Americans that he hasn't been made as jaded or as cynical about this shit as I have.
Or aware.
Or I'd even say that, even though I find Dave to be a very intelligent individual, but that doesn't mean that his fields of interest has gone in the same direction as mine. That's perfect. Unlearning.
No, it's one of the most difficult things in the world to do.
It is. It is.
Like, you can have a desire to do it. It still might not work.
I know people like that. They still hold on to certain things. Like, it's certain things that once they teach you as a child, it's hard to let go of. And I am not putting myself in a privileged position. There are still things with me with that. It's just that the core of that story, I think, is fake as fuck. And I have historical precedents. And I got the chance to actually talk to history. My grandfather was born in 1913. I had long conversations about what it was like to be him, which is essentially me back then. So I don't have any illusions. Any illusions I had previously, conversations with my grandfather killed a lot of that shit. So I don't have this, and I have to recognize that I come from that mindset. So I'm not saying Dave's right or wrong about feeling that way. What I'm saying is, from my experience, stuff that I didn't read, being a student of history in certain interest fields that I'm interested in, no. Being a student of humans, no. It's too much. There is a machine out there that pumps the confirmation bias in your head every day,
every single day,
consciously and subconsciously, every day. And it's a thing you have to be active about. Like, you have to be active about. As soon as you see it, you got to be like, hold up, am I buying into this because they told me to this and that? You got to be active like that. And a lot of us not, because we busy. We got shit to do. Motherfuckers got to work, yo.
That's facts.
They don't have time to be. I'm an artist. So artists kind of, their perception is a little different than the average person. That's all that is. The artist, the artist currently known as Tombstone.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, like, I think that's the reason why you get all of this. And Dave's an artist as well, which is why some of his perceptions slice right through that shit.
Yeah.
Right? There's a barrier of bullshit. Dave's perceptions go, nah, that's bullshit. Whoop! That's bullshit. Whoop! But everybody has a blind spot.
Everybody
has a blind spot.
Everybody.
And I think that's a blind spot for him. So I think his assumption is always going to be, we can do it. His assumption is always going to be red, white, and blue pom-poms, and I'm not on that squad.
Right.
I'm not on that squad. I'm not. I'm concerned about things, definitely, but I don't have any illusions that humans are going to. I'll take the surprise one way rather than the other. I don't want the surprise of thinking that we really going to do the right thing and then don't.
Yeah, I'd rather be pleasantly surprised than disappointed.
Yeah.
About
and it's happened from time to time. It's happened.
Absolutely.
Admittedly, it's happened. But more times than not, no. And I said something in the show earlier, in the live stream earlier, that I'm standing on. When that vote comes down, come holler at me.
Well, I've seen the story before. No, this particular thing hasn't happened, but I trust me. You've seen it. I've seen it.
Yeah.
You don't think you've seen it? Okay. All right. Yeah. We'll talk about it when this is over.
Yeah.
And I'll explain to you all the reasons why you've seen this before.
And also, I will attempt to explain to you all the reasons why you didn't see it.
Right. And you should have.
Yeah. And hopefully, between the both of us, some shit. I think there needs to be a combination of people that are jaded as I am with that and people that are like Dave. It needs to be a combination of that, and the populace can get shit done because you have people who are there for the naked truth of it. This is the reality. And then you have those of them that go, but it doesn't have to be.
Right. Facts.
And then, and then they help, the ones like me help you see this is what it is. And then the ones like him, okay, so this is what we could do.
Right.
We could attempt to do this. Not saying to work it out, but we need to try something.
I may be a dreamer, but I'm not the only one.
I'm not the only one. Devin says, I try to respond to the room. If I'm with my cynical friends, I'm an optimist. If I'm with my credulous friends, I'm more jaded. I know a lot of people like that. Because there are some people, and it's
actually, I think I'm that. I think
that's a lot.
My association with you guys makes me the optimist.
Yeah,
but when I'm with other people, generally, I'm like, all right.
It's a balance.
Yeah.
There are some people that are there to be. I'm gonna start calling y'all nexus beings. Y'all nexus beings like Scarlet Witch and Odin and them. Like y'all there to balance shit.
Yeah.
Because I think one of the things that made my songs and music attracted to the amount of people that it did is because I take a strong hard line thing on that. Bam.
That's funny.
Bam.
That's literally my third video in this series on YouTube. One of the reasons among the scores of reasons why I will never be YouTube famous from YouTube.
Right.
I purposely added that caveat from YouTube. If everything about SBJ ends up getting big, it will be for outside factors.
Exactly.
It will be because Black Culture Geeks blew up.
Right.
Something happened with Rise Podcast,
and we got the credit. And
it slid over to everything by SBJ.
Facts.
But one of the reasons I gave was I am not an extreme taker.
Right.
I don't do that. I don't think everything belongs in either side of the extreme of the spectrum.
That's because you're a nexus being. You are a nexus being. You're there for, like, there needs to be on a compass. There needs to be something there that connects to. It has to be in the middle point. Mm-hmm. This is right. That's north. That's south. That's west. That's east. That thing has to be there. You're a nexus being, and I think it's necessary. I think it's necessary. I'm like Deborah said. Sometimes the hammer is a good tool. Artists like you that took some hard lines on religion helped me break this idea that there were some things you weren't allowed to say. This is why I say it has to be both, because it has to be a people that romanticize what things could be, and the people there that also are there to see the way they are. Because what happens on either side is once people like me see things for the way they are, I'm like, yo, that shit is that's what it's going to be. There's not enough of the other stuff to change that. But the person that says, nah, maybe, we could try this.
Right.
You got up getting closer to the problem being fixed.
Yeah.
But on the detriment on their side is, to their detriment, they may go overboard seeing people for what they're not. That's not what they are. You're not. This is not the animal you're dealing with.
Right.
Learn the animal you're dealing with, and you can learn how to control it. But like we
know
are
thine enemy.
Absolute garbage, and I am absolutely convinced of it. And I guess I don't know. I did a song called Purpose. I talked about I make my own purpose.
Was it a mistake?
No. The song itself was not a mistake, but the mixing on it absolutely absolutely was a mistake. Because I still believe it. I make my own purpose. Like, I don't believe that some book was written that tells me I have to do this, I have to do that. No, the things that but I do agree that I've been influenced.
Oh, of course.
You know, like there are things that were introduced to me at a rather young age that I like that. I'm gonna pursue that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna make my purpose. I'm not gonna let other people dictate to me what my purpose is going to be. And I think that's the reason why I was able to do content and able to do all that shit. And Dave strikes me as a very similar person. Which is the reason why he wasn't just gonna stand there and say, "Oh well, I signed the contract, so no, B, no.
Yes, I signed the contract, but they have the power to change that."
That's right. And also, I signed it at a time when,
it made sense at the time.
Right, it don't make sense
in a way. It made sense at the time,
and I didn't have as much knowledge back then as I have now. So yes, the predatory nature of of capitalism in this country, the predatory nature of that capitalism has taught us, well, you signed it, so that's it.
Yeah,
without looking into the factors of why this kid signed it.
Right. Existentially, I did not sign that contract.
Facts.
Existentially.
That guy back then.
That knew shit and just wanted to find a way to provide for his family while doing something that he loved.
Right.
That guy signed that contract.
Facts.
That's not me.
Right.
So
we're gonna revisit this. Oh, we not? Well, I'm gonna talk to my bosses, my people.
Right.
I love that part.
Yeah.
Yo, to be honest, I like the entire thing. I'm just going over. I like the delivery because I'm an artist.
Yeah. Oh, bro.
Yeah, you know, so it's like I see the artistry in what he did right there. Just because
it's literally formula. My favorite thing about it is it's formulaic, but it's not a formula that everybody could just do.
Facts.
You can't just do. Basically, what he does in the vast majority of the things that he's done since he's been back is he picks a topic.
Right.
He picks a topic and then he builds off of that. Well, actually, it's in reverse. He has things he wants to talk about.
Right.
And then he finds a common denominator.
Facts.
And uses that and adds an abstract to it.
Absolutely.
And that's how everything is interconnected. Because literally everything he talked about was the coward rejoicing at the hero's fall. The coronavirus thing was that, and the people telling him, "Oh, you signed the contract." Same thing.
Yo, he basically did a version of Joseph Campbell's Journey of a Hero.
Bruh.
He did a version of that. That shit always works.
He's surgical with this shit.
Yeah, that shit. And again, like I said, I have admiration for his artistry. That does not mean I'm going to agree with his points most of the time.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I listen, all of us have been tainted in some way. All of us have blind spots. None of us have a working model of pure logic that we work off. None of us are Vulcans.
No,
you know what I'm saying? So I don't pretend to be. What I pretend to be is someone that I not even pretend, what I am is someone that acknowledges because for a while I didn't do that, acknowledges that I have developed under a certain set of circumstances that created the person you see in front of you now. Yeah. And I'm still developing.
Facts.
Because as long as you're breathing,
you work on that until you work on that.
You know what I'm saying?
But whether it's consciously or subconsciously.
Exactly. But at the end of the day, there are a lot of people that don't really recognize it in themselves, and they don't really work on themselves. Like there are people. I worked with this girl once who said the craziest shit to me ever about her aunt, and she will routinely mention this about her aunt. She would quote something her aunt would say, and sometimes it'd be on point, and sometimes it is flat out no. That's not. I disagree. That's not even what it is. And you know what her go-to would always be once that would happen? Listen, my aunt wasn't no fool. Check this out.
Wow.
Maybe she wasn't. I don't know her. That don't mean she was right about everything. And that don't mean she was right about that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, but that was her go-to. Because for her, that was the basis of any knowledge about life she got because she was raised by her aunt.
Facts.
And she made that a focal point, the nexus, so to speak.
Yeah.
For her. You know,
I'm not under the illusion that anybody's infallible.
No, and here's the thing: I don't have that.
Yeah,
like, I don't really have that. Like even with my grandfather, at the time, my grandfather got in my life when I was in elementary school. My mother's father started living with us when I was in elementary school, right around the 5th, 6th grade, something like that. Towards the end of elementary.
Yeah,
and I learned a lot of stuff from my grandfather that I didn't even want to learn. You know, but and to this day, I reference a lot of stuff he said because I say it's true. But there's also stuff he believed in that absolutely no, it wasn't true. And I was able to pick the corn from the shit. You know what I'm saying? With him and still revere him. But there's some people that can't do that because once they revere the person, that's it. That person is the source of all knowledge about life, this and other, and they will constantly reference that person. I don't have that in me. I don't have it in me. I don't. I don't believe in one single text having all of the answers unless it's a very, very small text about a very specific thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is about how to grow corn. It's they probably got everything you need to know right in that.
Not sure.
You know, and even that got to be questioned sometimes about certain shit, right? So depending on what's in there. But I don't believe in it. I believe that there is a plethora of information from various different sources, and you have to build up your psychic self-defense.
All right. Okay. All right. So we should probably end this. But I have a hypothetical. So theoretically, is it possible that someone happened ever? I'm not talking about hundreds. I'm not talking
whenever in the timeline.
Hypothetically, is it possible that someone happened to find all of these things and compile them?
I'm gonna say no, because the problem is logistics. If Earth was the only thing here, yes. If there literally existed nothing else, I was like, yes, it would be absolutely possible for somebody to say, bam, this is it. Because there is a limited space. But there are things that, the entire lifespan of the human species, there are things none of us have ever.
Okay, wait. All right. Let me amend that. Adding to that, the caveat of things that would affect us, and they happen to be lucky enough that these other things wouldn't affect us.
Wait a minute. Say that again.
Adding to that caveat, things that affect us, and they happen to be lucky enough. I'm granting them this,
right?
That they happen to be lucky enough that these intergalactic things do not affect us.
Yeah, I see that caveat you put right there. In other words, that giant ass asteroid, that fuck the dinosaurs up and shit. Like, yeah, all right, I see. Even with that, I'm gonna still say no. And
Okay.
the reason why is so we don't have enough space on our brain, the grooves, the burn these. We don't have it. Like none of us to have all of it. That's a lot of info.
All right.
That's a lot of info.
So could you not? It's a common phrase. I forgot more than you ever learned.
Mm-hmm.
So could it be a thing where once written down, they didn't have any reason to commit it to memory anymore?
That is entirely possible because
now
I
it
write
would take
things
a very,
down.
very long time.
Yo, in a very, very big book. Listen, I saw a book on the myths in ancient Mesopotamia.
Mm-hmm.
That motherfucker was this thick.
Okay,
that's just one topic.
Wait. It's a digital book.
Digital book. It is possible to store all of that information digitally because we are continuing to improve processing power. But I would caution people, when you speed up processing power, when you get that you get to the point where you do it at quantum computers.
Yeah, quantum computers, yeah.
We start unlocking more information because now we have the processing speed to do it.
No, you're right. You're right.
That's going to keep.
Damn it. Okay. All right. But realistically, terabytes will have to become
shit. What's the next name?
I don't even know.
Right. right.
Because there was no reason before the advancements in quantum computing, it wasn't necessary to know.
Right.
Now I'm sure that it's established, but I don't know.
I don't know either. I want to, before we leave, I want to read Devin's comment because I actually like this. Isn't the universe just a really big book by that definition, constantly being updated? What's reality but a bunch of stored information on the state of reality? That is.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to argue that because everything is data. Just because we can't translate the data doesn't mean it's not data.
Thanks.
You know,
yes,
petabyte.
Yes.
Petabyte. We gotta change that.
Nigga.
I don't like petabyte. That's too close to
shut up. Asshole.
But yeah, look, we wanted to get this conversation about Dave Chappelle out our craw that was actually supposed to be on the show, but we wound up, as usual, going off the rails with something else.
Yeah,
but this needed to be talked about because Dave, right? So I want to thank anybody came to the video listening. If you have any other takes, say again.
There were a few people that popped in.
Yeah, I want to appreciate people that popped up. Anybody that comes across this video at a later date, if you got any, give us your interpretation of the stuff that you saw from Dave's thing. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video. If you got any source of entertainment from this, you know what I'm saying? Like the video. And follow us, hit that notification bell. Because we're always, we at the very least live stream every Saturday.
Yeah.
So the other content aside, we at least do that every Saturday.
Thanks.
Come holler at us. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So for my man SBJ, I am Tombstone the Dead Man. We're out of here.